Hey, I appreciate it. You know, Detroit, always been close to Detroit. When it blew up and blew up in the same week, I thought that was a great thing. So when Rat Brown came in here and said he used to call it Detroit, I didn't call it Destroy. Back in those days. Well, a couple of words. We live in a different period now. Barack Obama has showed us how to kick a Republican's ass. So we have to take that as the bottom of where we are. Just like once slavery was the bottom of where we are. You understand what I'm saying? That's the bottom. That's not the top. That's the bottom. We got much more to do. But the wild thing about that election was those people, Romney and them people, they don't even know where they live. They talking about America that don't exist.
Yeah.
Like Pat Buchanan and what's the other fool said? White America's dead. I said, hooray! Don't forget that, because that ability to beat those people, you know what I mean, to take them out, you know, in that is contained your strength. That coalition, that organization, that united front of black people, Latinos, Asians, and progressive white people, they all are minorities. But that's it. See, and those people don't understand that. Romney don't understand where he is even in. He don't even understand this country at all. He's just lost. You understand? Stuff that they say, you can't stand up and put down people like, you know, put down the Latinos, put down the gays, put down the women, put down the blacks, and still think you can get over. You know, that's stupid. And I had talked to the governor of Massachusetts. You say, how are you talking to the governor of Massachusetts? Well, turns out the governor of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick, you might know. His father was Pat Patrick, a saxophone player with Sun Ra. Now I don't know no other governor to beat that. But I said, why are they making the race like this so close? He said, because they want you to look at television. They make it a horse race, you know, so you look at television. It's this close, this close. You beat the man by over 100 electoral votes. You know, somebody beat you in Florida, Virginia. I mean, really, give me a break. But we shouldn't forget that. We shouldn't forget that idea of the united front, because that's what it is. United front. And I learned that from Martin Luther King. 10 days before he was murdered, came to my house. I looked out the window that day, there was helicopters, people on the roofs, people on both sides of the street. I said, hey, we getting ready to get busted, you know. That's what he's going to jail. Bell rang, I opened the door, it's Martin Luther King. So my mouth dropped open, you know. And there was a photographer there that caught that, you know, standing on the doorstep. And that photo appeared in the lobby of the Newark City Hall from 1968 when he was murdered, because he was murdered the next week. He left my house, he was killed the next week. See, at 39. Remember that? Martin Luther King wasn't no old man, he was 39. You know how old Malcolm X was? 39. Jesus. You understand? They were young men. Can you hear that? Young men. So that King comes and says, hello, Leroy. I said, yeah, how you doing, Dr. King? He said, people tell me you was a bad fella. You don't look like such a bad fella to me. But the one thing he told me was about the United Front, that we need a United Front. We can't do this alone. No one ideology, no one religion, no one group. Sectarianism cannot win. We need a united front. We need a group where we can argue. I would rather have Malcolm and Dr. King sit up and argue all day. You understand? They argue, then we come out at night and say, you say, well, I don't even agree with that, but that's what we're going to do. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we're going to do. When we get that kind of sophistication. And when I met Malcolm X, I met him a month before he died, before he was murdered. When he was in the Waldorf Astoria, I meant he was already bombed out of his house. You understand? And I met him with a man named Muhammad Babu, who had just made a revolution in Zanzibar. And Zanzibar and Tanganyika then combined to form Tanzania, you know. And Malcolm said the same thing. I was trying to be militant. We need to progress in ACP and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, you shouldn't be putting down in ACP. You should be getting in it. You should be trying to influence them people. You should be trying to make a united front. It's interesting. Dr. King and Malcolm, united front. Stokely Carmichael, my longtime comrade, my friend, that's what he kept saying. We need a united front. And he preached that. We need a united front. We can't do this alone. We need a united front. No matter how hip you are, how politically correct you are, you cannot do this alone. You understand? And you cannot do it in the kind of sectarian, I am the greatest attitude. And I'm saying that because here we at the bottom of this, although the top of that. The top of the bottom of that. At the bottom of our struggle for equal rights and self-determination, and for true democracy in this country. See? And it's wild, you know, you say true democracy. Africa. Africa! Go back black, see yourself. Know yourself, touch yourself. World, 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 go back, see yourself. Know yourself, touch yourself. Ancient, beautiful Africa. Creator of the human being. Of speech. Of music. Of dance. Of the city. Of art. Africa. Beautiful Africa. But when you put your hand on your sister, made her a slave, watch out, Africa, the ghost gonna get you. When you put your hand on your brother, made him a slave, watch out, Africa. Ghost gonna get you. Ghost gonna get you. Ah! How'd he get here? On my back, in the dark, with the wind and water blowing through my ears. Obatala Shango, save me, help me. Isa. How'd I get here on my back? In the dark, the chains around my arm. My brother the king sold me to the ghosts. My brother the king sold me to the ghosts. Obatala Shango, save me. At the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, there's a railroad made of human bones. Black ivory. Black ivory. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wise. One. If you ever find yourself somewhere, lost and surrounded by enemies, who won't let you speak in your own language, who destroy your statues and instruments, who ban your boom ba-boom, you're in trouble. They ban your boom ba-boom, you're in deep trouble. Probably take you several hundred years to get out. at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, there's a railroad made of human bones, black ivory, black ivory. So we know from there, that ship, from the slave ship to the citizen ship, we faced a lot of bullshit in the middle. And so now the question is how to get beyond that, to another level. And that's what we have to address. I should say also that my youngest child here, my youngest son right there, he who's 30, he old now, he's 38. But my wife and I have 5 children, 4 now. We had 4 boys and a girl. The girl was killed by some ignorant Negro, And so my sister was also killed by some ignorant Negro man, So I remember these people were putting down Obama for saying black men had to stand up. And so I wrote a letter saying, no, he's right. They need to stand up. My sister and my daughter were murdered, not by no white people. So you need to understand what is to be done. What is to be done. So there we are, we have to face the fact that the Afro-American people can never achieve equal rights and self-determination unless they have the same kind of coalition that whipped those Republicans behind. Yeah. It is that coalition. And that does not mean that you cannot organize yourself. Because that's at the bottom. You have to have an organization to organize with other people. You know what I mean? But the whole question of say, what black nationalism was supposed to be for is to organize black people so they could work with whoever to make revolution in this country. And that's still what you got to do. You still have to think that what the enemy is monopoly capitalism, imperialism. That's the enemy, which is why people don't like me. As a matter of fact, I got kicked out of the Air Force for being a communist. They were a little advanced in their judgment. I thought I was a Buddhist at the time. It just shows you. But through those years, we tried over and over to put together United Fronts. In Newark, New Jersey, we elected the first black mayor in a major northeastern city, 1970. That's what we did. We put together a United Front. We put together the Black and Puerto Rican Convention. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, they were burning down Puerto Ricans' houses. They had just got to Newark, and me and the head of the Young Lords, Felipe Luciano, and we formed a mutual defense pact. We said a blow against Puerto Ricans is a blow against black people. A blow against black people is a blow against Puerto Ricans. So this eminent racist named Anthony Puriale sent a telegram to the governor and wanted to know, was that legal? Like the French say, he's a very bad animal. He wants to defend himself. But in that whole movement, was what we understood. We understood from that is that's how you gain power. You see, so the question ultimately, when Stokely said black power, that was important. What it made us do when he said black power is organize and elect the first black mayor in Newark, New Jersey. That's what it made us do. And it made us then form the Congress of African People, and put 15 different cities together so that we could put together the National Black Assembly in 1972 with 8,000 black folks in Gary, Indiana, with the first black mayor of Gary, Indiana, Richard Hatcher, and so created that. So people say, well, what happened? Well, what happened is the same thing that happened in Newark. We elected A few months later, the Negro was after me. They sent police in my house. Said I was torturing a cop on the 3rd floor. Put a gun to my wife's head. See, they couldn't find them kids because she had given them instructions. Just go on, hide now. But so what that meant is they not understood classes and class struggle, that there's no such thing as a monolithic people. You understand? The Negroes let you fight for them, but the minute they get something going, see, then you, well, I don't need all that militant noise and stuff like that. That was cool when they needed it. So the question always is, who are your friends and who are your enemies? Who are your friends and who are your enemies? Who's willing to fight with you? You know, who's going to go down on the right side with you? That's what's important, you know. And then, so the National Black Assembly, that's what happened to it. You know, that those Negroes that we elected, by the time the Miami convention, when McGovern got his behind with, Negroes was down there selling their behinds, left and right, before we even got away. You have to deal with electoral power. You must deal with it. We should, all you young people should be running for office somewhere. No, but I hate to see people who can run their mouth to the top of their lungs and can't even elect nobody to be a dog catcher.
Right.
You understand? Where you live, you have to deal with that locally, but think about it internationally. You have to know what's happening around the world. But at the same time, you shouldn't be walking around powerless in your own city. So that my second son, Raz, is now a councilman in Newark, which is why we sent him to college. We didn't send him to college so he could come back and join some huge organization and move to the suburbs and be able to quote Shakespeare. We sent him to college so he could come back and help us. You understand? And that's what you people young enough, the most important loyalty is to the folks that raised you up, to the folks that fed you and clothed you, that wiped your nasty behind. That's supposed to be your first loyalty. That's your first loyalty. That's what you have to make sure you take care of. And all of us have ties and families, and we make sure, that's what we should be making sure. And we should be making sure that we maximize the political power wherever we go. Anybody who thinks that elections are garbage should be minimally talked to. I mean, you know how many people were lynched? You know how many people killed for advocating what? Voting. Yep. You know how many black people were shot down? Well, when this guy in Mississippi who wanted to run for president, happily he didn't do it. He said, well, it wasn't that bad in Mississippi in the 60s. And I went and looked back and found out how many people had been murdered. You know, not only Emmett Till, but all the others who had been shot down. You know, one brother was shot down. Guy came out of the Mississippi legislator, and shot him down outside the courthouse because he was talking about voting, not terrorism. Voting. But see, they were smart. They knew what would happen if you let them vote. Barack Obama. No, they understood that. Let the Negroes vote. You know how many of them is down here? And so Romney comes out and said, first he said, what was he? Urban. It was urban. Yes, it was urban. That's where we lived. We got out of the country. We had to get out of the country because it was dangerous. Those dudes riding around there with white sheets on. You understand? But they put those sheets away and they've gone into Congress. So it's Then he said he gave them gifts. They don't know where they are. They don't understand. This is not the country you think it is. This is another country. You know how many Latinos in this country? You know how many Asians in this country? You know how many gays in this country? You don't even know how many women in this country. So it's a different country, and we got to deal with it. And for the Afro-Americans, we live in 27 cities. 27 cities. That's what he said, cities. That's right. The largest cities in the United States. We are either pluralities or majorities. We have $700 billion a year. The 16th largest gross national product in the world. Yes, we have the money. We don't have the plan. You understand? You got 27 cities. You're supposed to have 27 theaters. You understand what I'm saying? You're supposed to have 27 or whatever you want in those cities, so those cities reflect your life, your experience to the extent that it is necessary. You know? And until you do that, you're going to be swinging at the wind, you know. But politically, to try to control your space, this is Malcolm. Malcolm said that it sounds wild, actually. You know, sound wild. Talking about nationalism. About the enemy is necessary. He said Malcolm was violent. What violence did Malcolm ever say? You know, the movement developed because Dr. King, after he had led, you know, the Montgomery bus boycott, you remember, and Rosa Parks refused to sit in the back of the bus. She wasn't no tired black woman. She was an activist. She had done that before. She has done that before, you understand? So she got locked up. King, then, you know, they organized the Montgomery Improvement Association, boycott the buses, stop there, because they made us ride the back of the bus. Can you believe that? That's, what, 40 years ago, you had to ride in the back of the bus. So, when King did that successfully, they blew up his house. Payback in the jungle. They blew up his house. The black people come there with rifles over there. Dr. King, what should we do? He says, if there be any bloodshed, let it be ours. No, my generation said, no, we ain't going for that. We love you, Dr. King, but we're not going for that. If it's going to be bloodshed, it's going to be mixed blood. It's going to be neutral. And so that's when Malcolm X appeared. And Malcolm said, you treat people like they treat you. How weird is that? You treat people like they treat you. They treat you with respect, you treat them with respect. They put their hands on you, send them to the cemetery. Self-defense. He's violent, like the French said. He's a violent animal. He will defend himself. You know. And Malcolm X and Dr. King died at 39 years old. You know, 39 years old. And so that, without Dr. King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Fannie Lou Hamer, all of those people, without SNCC, Carmichael, Rap Brown, without those people, without all of us, wouldn't be no Obama. Wouldn't be no Obama. It means also that the nation itself, the United States, has been raised morally and politically. It has been raised, and it has been raised because of the force and the power of the Afro-American people in those countries. And we have to understand that. But see, we have to understand this, that Obama has cooled us out. Everything got two sides to it. We happy he the president. We would have started another war if Romney got in there. But the point is, the minute Obama got in there, it cooled us out. Black people said, you know, that's good. But we're going to stop this. We're not going to do this. You know. So, we're going to have to come to the understanding that we're going to have to protest even with a black president. That we're going to have to say the things that need to be said. Even with our brother up there. You have to commit yourself to doing that. And you have to give back to your old, hard-nosed, militant self. You understand? I mean, I was with Robert Williams in Cuba, man, when he said, come with me, come with me. We walked, he went to the American ambassador's office and pulled out a gun and put it on the American ambassador. Said, the Klan is threatening my wife in North Carolina. Call, get somebody down here. See, I was like an innocent bystander. Really, really. But determination was not just Robert Williams. That was a whole lot of folks. When Malcolm was murdered, then what happened? The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. You know. The Republic of New Africa, the US organization, the Congress of African People, SNCC, SCLC, all over the country. So I just want to say those things to let you know that we still have a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do, you know. And since my children are getting old, you know, that means they've got to begin to get their children. You know, I got a granddaughter who's Shani, after the one that was murdered, Shani. Little Shani's 3. She said, "Granddaddy, get out of my room. And don't bother my stuff." I tell her, "I'm going to bust you in your head." She said, "No, you're not." See, that's what we need. She said, "No man ain't going to bother me." I want to read a couple of poems. This is let me read this poem first from this book. Yeah. Dun 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 in town. Dun 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 dun. It's for my hometown, Newark. Something in the way of things. Something that will quit and won't start. Something you know but can't stand, can't know, but get along with. Like death riding on top of the car, peering through the windshield for his cue. Something entirely fictitious and true that creeps across your path, hallooing your evil ways like they were yourself, passing yourself, not smiling. Boom, 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 boom. The dead guy you saw me talking to is your boss. I tried to put a spell on him, but his spirit is illiterate. I know things you know and nothing you don't know, except I saw something in the way of things, something grinning at me. And I wanted to know, was it funny? Was it so funny it followed me down the street, greeting everybody like the good humor man? And they got to taste the good humor, but no ice cream. It was like that, me talking across people into the houses and not seeing the beings crowding around me with ice picks. You could see them, but they looked like important Negroes on the way to your funeral. They looked like important gigolos on the way to your auction. They let them chant the numbers and use an ivory pointer to count your teeth. Remember Step and Fetch It, how we laughed? Knowing it was Sunday school images given flesh and jiggling with the ice pick high over his head made you laugh anyway. I can see something in the way of ourselves. That's why I say the things I do. You know it. But it's something else to you. Like that job this morning when you got there, it was quiet and the machines were yearning soft behind you, yearning for their nigger to come and give up his life. Standing there being dissed and broke and troubled. My mistake is I kept saying that was proof God didn't exist. And you told me, no, it was proof that the devil do. But still, it's like I see something, I hear things. I saw words in the white boy's lying rag say you was gonna die poor and frustrated. That them dreams walk with you across town is gonna die from overwork. That the garbage on the street is telling you you ain't shit, and you almost believe it. Broke and mistaken all the time. You know some of the words, but they ain't the right ones. Your cable back on, but ain't nothing on it you can see. But I see something in the way of things, something make us stumble, something get us drunk from noise and addicted to sadness. I see something and feel something stalking us, like an ugly thing floating at our back, calling us names. You see it and hear it too, but you say it got a right to exist just like you. And if God made it, but then we got to argue. and the light gonna come down around us, even though we remember where the bank is. We remember the Negro squinting at us through the cage. You seen what I see too. A smile that ain't a smile, but teeth flying against our necks. You see something too, but can't call its name. Bum, 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 ain't it too bad? You all said, ain't it too bad? Such a nice boy, always kind to his mother, always said good morning to everybody on his way to work. But that last time before he got locked up and hurt real bad, I seen him walking toward his house and he wasn't smiling and he didn't even say hello. But I knew he'd seen something in the way of things, and it worked on him like a doing will, and he kept marching faster and faster away from us and never even muttered a word. Then, the next day he was gone. You want to know what I'm talking about? Saying I seen something in the way of things, and how the boy's face looked that day just before they took him away. There isn't that face, and remember all the other faces and all the many places you've seen him, or the sister with his child wandering up the street. Remember what you seen in your own mirror and didn't for a second recognize the face, your own face, straining to get out from behind the glass. Open your mouth like you was gonna say something. Close your eyes and remember what you saw, what it made you feel like. Now, don't you see something else? Something cold and ugly, not invisible, but blended with the shadow, crisscrossing the old man, squatting by the drugstore at the corner with his head resting uneasily on his folded arms. And the boy that smiled, and the girl he went with, and in my eyes too, a waving craziness, splitting them into the jet stream of a blackbird, his ass on fire. Or the solemn notness of where we go, to know we go be happy, to know we gonna be happy. I seen something. And you seen it too. You just can't call its name. When I was a kid, I was a little weird kid in Newark. I used to read Chinese and Japanese poetry. So, you see a little black kid in the ghetto reading Chinese poetry, you watch out. I tell him, what do you come up with? So I came across this thing called a haiku, Japanese. 18 syllables. So I created a form for black people called a loku. We don't count the syllables because we don't have time, actually. So it's just short. That's something called un poco loco, but power, a little crazy. Loco for so what? They ask him the difference between insane and outsane. He said, you know the difference, that's why you ask him. 2 days later, they came back, he left a note, it said the same thing. That's when his picture went up in the post office. The caption read, wanted for any reason you could think of. This meant they really did understand. Silent night. Whenever the devil is disguised as God, he is called Santa Claus. The cruelest thing the Nazis did, and the most grim, was to turn some of their victims into them. Why? Who? What? So what? Was it ever so quiet the room began to ask you questions? Adventures in Negrosity. The Negro tried to cash himself for money at a bank. He got arrested as a counterfeit nickel. Culture. European Jews say the devil speaks perfect German. Black Americans, on the other hand, say he speaks pretty good English, too. Locomotive. The devil said he left heaven because there was too many niggas. That's why he started Europe. Geobolical. According to the devil, when he was first thrown out of heaven, he landed in England. I believe him. Heaven appeared with property, God with slavery. Heaven appeared with property, God with slavery. Before fortune was money, finally everything points to the people and things we understand. Understanding is a point of view. If you look, what looks down, from that point, if it's the sun, okay. If you see it, better. If you don't, okay. But for instance, and there you go across the sea to be with the devil, the preparation for pain is minimal. The preparation for pain is minimal. For joy, a lifetime. Is that fair, we ask? Is that fair? You mean a fee, a circus, or white people? The return of Lon Chaney. If you see a Negro with a white ring around his mouth, Gooba dust will not help. Loku. Craziness is no act. Not to act is craziness. Achtung! The American word for Nazi is American. Catch 27. The real problem is you don't know the real problem. Loku for Bush 2. Loku for Bush 2. The main thing wrong with you is you ain't in jail. Class gas. Class gas for those who knows. Since the rich eat more than anybody else, it is reasonable to assume that they are more full of shit. In the funk world, if Elvis Presley is king, who is James Brown? God. So, political visionary of note. In the 60s, George Romero warned us about the tea parties to come with his movie, Night of the Living Dead. Ethnically altered film, quote. Ethnically altered film, quote. Quote, if you can set up a meeting with Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey in an old colored restaurant in Harlem, I'll kill them both. The Swahili word for Holocaust is maafa. So if you ask us how's it been for blacks in America, we say it's been a maafa. I liked us better when we were quick to throw our fists in the air. I liked us better when we were shouting and marching and intent on changing everything. I liked us better when we didn't dig our enemies so much. When we were at least suspicious. I liked us better when we traveled in big gangs, not in small gangs, but big-ass gangs, threatening the people who still threaten us. When we charged them for slavery and lynching and Klan membership, now they took their robes off, put them in their Republican Party briefcases on the way into the House of Representatives. But who do they represent? Not us. But our murderers and slavers, the same people who dragged us in iron into the bottom of them boats. I liked us better when we remembered these things and would not just stand there pleading with people who hate us to be civil, because they won't, and you should know it by now.
Yeah.
How long is it? 16, 19, 17, 19, 18, 19, 19, 19, red summer. In 7 years, it'll be 2019.
Ooh.
If you don't know them by now, you'll never know them. I like this better when we was acting like Rosa Parks. Shit, where? Actually. I like this better when we acted like Nat Turner but got away and shot that Trayvon Martin memorial bullet into somebody's Washington, D.C. car. I like this better when we acted like Big Robert Williams, and I was with him when he pulled that pistol on the American ambassador in Cuba and demanded he send real police to protect his family in North Carolina. I liked us better when some of our youngest were some of our baddest, when Malcolm and Martin was still in their 30s and talked the most excellent, righteous, anti-racist diatribes in the world. We all liked us better then. And we need to figure that out, black president or not. You need to get it in your knot that that brother's meant to cool us out. Who were the most militant, most angry nation in this land, with fire in our souls and smoke pouring out of our eyes, so we have been made cool. And even made proud by the shroud of Negro our enemies have pulled over the bleeding victim of our oppression, who lingers right before us, right inside us on the streets, in the prisons, in the twisted lies of the picture, who can steal the sound, who can even steal the sounds of oppression and enshrine them in a rock and roll museum to show us how ignorant we are. I liked us better when the first words of our mouths were, fuck them. I'm just, skipping around here. So, dun, 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 dun. That's Dizzy Gillespie, Conal with soul. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Between infrared and ultraviolet. Boom, 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 boom. We are the inside of reality. We'll move it and turn it up, around and on and on. We are the where you been and the there you go. We ain't perfect. We ain't even rich. We ain't that believable sometime what we want, what we say. All the upside, inside by George, they went off like that stuff. We are the silent and the loud, the quiet blue in the sky of morning, the murmuring redness makes when the sun books to light up the rest of the family. We are old as anything, but never stay anywhere too long. We invented whatever you could say, except we don't want to take credit for the bad shit. But we invented that too. The man over there invented God on a humble, under a tree. And Jimmy dropped a load on his head. He said, God, and that got over for dough. My wife invented bread from flowers. I said it was a good idea, then went off trying to bite a tree. I climbed up in a tree second. She was first. I invented quizzical expressions and long silences. I taught up music the way the sky wanted to get in our business all the time. We are everywhere you've been and where you're going, we let you know to go there. Your boy in the corner sleep invented the devil, who got his behind whipped by his own theory, then tried to lock up what it brought. He invented jails too, he was the first one in one. The dude over there crying invented the church. Now he's trying to explain what he meant. We are the fall as it lets you dig it, the spring as you walk through it smiling. We are rain, light and heavy, and fire when it simmers under our food. I thought of speech when my toe got broke trying to eat a flower. The sky I used to call Sister All and thought Shango was doing it to her. I got here second, my wife was first. I wanted to keep on hunting on the ground till the bite marks made me look like one of them ugly cats who want to sink their teeth into your next ears. We were here when anybody thought to think of being here. We was invited to be humans and thought we had copped. We was communists covered with our natural vines. We let it go for groceries, then had to cut out when the grocer got ugly. We was big fish and could sing then. We was whaling in the water and dug light was in the waves. We explained tides and kept records when Bird was jet black and crisscrossed overhead chasing the sun. We figured out what the soul was, watching him. I could sing when my fingers come out. We lived everywhere there is and know everything but what we need to know next. We the only people never been nowhere that don't exist. We dream in the billions. Your boy, the dog with the hat on, he invented money. That's why he got a gun. He says somebody want to waste it. We are the shadows that haunt when shouldn't stay around. We are the whispers of the future's wings, the engines of the spirit, the breath of the earth, the dirt, the lips of the water, the beating of the day, night. I come here second. Where was I before? Before is not anybody you know. I used to play the drums when they growed up in my hand. I sat in a tree and thought up numbers. I was a revolutionary from way back. Ask that cat with my bad talk in his ear and my new foot up his ass. I confess, evil was an experiment. Don't hold that against me. I knew it was risky. I told your boy Yaku, he done it later. He started a singing group. We were so out, we went away and came back to go again and made a circle to have something to say. Eating was the way we walked. I was never alone. I come here second. My wife was first. We know what we need to be and keep talking about it. We as singers and drummers and horn players and poets and painters and sculptors and dancers and actors and workers and runners. My man over there thought of flying, but then had to come back when he went where he started. We was planets and stars. We was notes and rests. We walked before the clouds asked us to. We was hungry before we knew about food. We is revolutionary. Day into night, into star, into somewhere. Look up, we're coming again. We is you two, we is to you. We is come and gone, coming and going, loving and digging, laughing and copying, listening and singing, dancing and timing. We is space and time as a picture card of everything. We is revolutionaries. The world is not what it will be. We is what will make it that and then. We is the never of the yes, the tiny of the grand, the hotness of the cool, the seeing of the believing, the practice of the theory, the history of the future, the lost of the found. We are what you need and what you get if you stay around. We are what we was when you was where you going and was still getting down. We was perfect and rejected it for travel. We is with you, we is you, we is us and you, we is you, and you is everything. All of us is one family, one thing, one mother and father, one every all, one never not. We is revolutionaries. We is revolutionaries. We is the earth turning. We is the stars coming. We is the hot rising, the cold descending. We is, 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 we is. With this poem, if you have some questions to ask me after, I'll be glad to answer them. I want to read this poem that got me in some trouble. I tell you, it's complicated because we live in Newark up on a hill. I was supposed to go to New York, 911, to help Felipe Luciano run for councilman in New York. Called me up and said, turn on the television. I turned on the television. Buildings burning. So if you're familiar with the 1940s, when a plane hit the Empire State Building, left a hole in it. My parents driving us to New York, we used to look at a hole in the Empire State Building. I thought it was like that in an accident. But while I'm looking at the television here, it goes, pow, I tell you, that really scared me, you know, because we could see that from, you know, my house in Newark, right 12 miles away from New York, up on a hill. You could see the world changing. You could see it burning. You could see that, you know. So, we were scared. But then, Bush, with his Bush shit, started talking terrorism. They hate us because of our democracy. And then it occurred to me, I said, but that's how we got here, we black folks. Terrorism. What do you think the Klan is? Terrorists for us, you know. So it took me a month to write that poem. October, I sent it over the net to people around the world. I got mostly positive comments, a couple negative comments. And then I read the poem at the Dodge Poetry Festival in New Jersey, when I was back in the country, to about 1,000 people. And the last two people came by. You know, I signed books for an hour, my wife and I. The last two people came by, they was dressed up. They said, that was a hateful poem. I said, yeah, what part? But anyway, the next day the governor's office called me and said, you have to apologize and resign. That's anti-Semitic. I said, now that ain't true. I don't know why you're saying that. But they made a big thing about it. And then they couldn't have fired me as the poet laureate of New Jersey. You know, because the dude, when he gave me that title, Poet Laureate of New Jersey, I said to him, do you know something about poetry? Have you ever read any poetry? I know you have never read my poetry. He said, I can handle it. Okay. Interestingly enough, the governor had to resign. Apologize and resign because he, you know, was having an affair, a homosexual affair with his aide, you know, which I didn't understand why he didn't just say, yeah, I'm gay and I'm the governor. Now what? I don't understand what all the rigmarole was about it. You know what I mean? Just come on, you the man, you're saying, well, yeah, you're supposed to be for gay rights, now you're going to get all trembly when somebody accuses you of being gay? It's weird. Now he's in the seminary. Ooh, that means... I'm not going to comment on that, just watch your step. So finally they got rid of the poet laureate position in New Jersey. You know, we don't have a poet laureate. We're like officially ignorant now. But I'm still a poet laureate of Newark, New Jersey in the school system, right? But it's so bizarre, you know, it's so bizarre because for people to call me these names and stuff is really awful. But it's a good defense. I can see why Israel uses that defense. You say something about Israel, you're anti-Semitic. You know, that's a good defense. It's not accurate, it's not true. And people will finally get through it. Boom, 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 boom. Somebody blew up America. All thinking people oppose terrorism, both domestic and international. But one should not be used to cover the other. Somebody blew up America. They say some terrorist, some barbaric Arab in Afghanistan. It wasn't our American terrorists, it was the Klan or the skinheads. Whether them that blows up nigger churches or reincarnates us on death row, it wasn't Trent Lott or David Duke or Giuliani or Schumer. Helms did. It wasn't the gonorrhea in costume, the white sheet diseases that have murdered black people, terrorized reason and sanity, most of humanity as they please. They say, who say? Who do the saying? Who is the paying? Who tell the lies? Who in disguise? Who had the slaves? Who got the bucks out the bucks? Who got fat from plantations? Who genocided Indians, tried to waste the black nation? Who lived on Wall Street, the first plantation? Who cut your nuts off? Who raped your mom? Who lynched your pop? Who got the tar? Who got the feathers? Who had the match? Who set the fires? Who killed and hired? Who say they God and still be the devil? Who the biggest only? Who the most goodest? Who do Jesus resemble? Who created everything? Who the smartest? Who the greatest? Who the richest? Who say you ugly and they the good lookingest? Who defined art? Who defined science? Who made the bombs? Who made the guns? Who bought the slaves? Who sold them? Who call you them names? Who say Dahmer wasn't insane? Who? Who stole Puerto Rico? Who stole the Indies, the Philippines, Manhattan, Australia, and the Hebrides? Who forced opium on the Chinese? Who owned them buildings? Who got the money? Who think you funny? Who locked you up? Who owned the papers? Who owned the slave ship? Who run the army? Who the fake president? Who the banker? Who owned the mind? Who twists your mind? Who got bread? Who need peace? Who you think need war? Who own the oil? Who do no toil? Who own the soil? Who is not a nigger? Who is so great ain't nobody bigger? Who own the city? Who own the air? Who own the water? Who own your crib? Who rob and steal and cheat and murder? Make lies the truth? Who call you uncouth? Who live in the biggest house? Who do the biggest crime? Who go on vacation anytime? Who kill the most niggas? Who kill the most Jews? Who kill the most Italians? Who kill the most Irish? Who kill the most Africans? Who kill the most Japanese? Who kill the most Latinos? Boom, 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 boom. Who? Who own the ocean? Who own the airplanes? Who own the malls? Who own television? Who own radio? Who own what ain't even known to be owned? Who own the owners that ain't the real owners? Who own the suburbs? Who suck the cities? Who make the laws? Who made Bush president? Who believed the Confederate flag need to be flying? Who talk about democracy and be lying? Who? Who the beast in Revelations? Who 666? Who decide Jesus get crucified? Who the devil on the real side? Who got rich from Armenian genocide? Who the biggest terrorists? Who changed the Bible? Who killed the most people? Who did the most evil? Who don't worry about survival? Who have the colonies? Who stole the most land? Who rule the world? Who say they good but only do evil? Who the biggest executioner? Who own the oil? Who want more oil? Who told you what you think that lady you find out is a lie? Who felt Bin Laden? Maybe they say. Who paid the CIA? Who knew the bomb was going to blow? Who know why the terrorists learned to fly in Florida and San Diego? Who know why 5 Israelis was filming the explosion and cracking their sides at the notion? Who need fossil fuel? The sun ain't going nowhere. Who make the credit cards? Who get the biggest tax cut? Who walked out of the conference against racism? Boom, 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 boom. Who killed Malcolm, Kennedy, and his brother? Who killed Dr. King? Who would want such a thing? Are they linked to the murder of Lincoln? Who invaded Grenada? Who made money from apartheid? Who kept the Irish a colony? Who overthrew Chile and Nicaragua later? Who killed David Sebeco, Chris Hani, the same ones who killed Biko, Cabral, Neruda, Allende, Che Guevara, Sandino? Who killed Kabila, the ones who wasted Lumumba, Manlane, Betty Shabazz, Princess Di, Ralph Featherstone, Lil Bobby, locked up Mandela, Deruba, Geronimo, Asada, Mumia, Garvey, Dashiell Hammett, Alphaeus Hutton? Who killed Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, Mikey Smith, Walter Rodney? Was it the ones who tried to poison Fidel? Who tried to keep the Vietnamese oppressed? Who put a price on Lenin's head? Who put the Jews in ovens? And who helped them do it? Who said America first and okayed the yellow stars? Who killed Rosa Luxemburg, Liebknecht? Who murdered the Rosenbergs and all the good people iced, tortured, assassinated, vanished? Who got rich from Algeria, Libya, Haiti, Iran, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine? Who cut off people's hands in the Congo? Who invented AIDS? Who put the germs in the Indian's blanket? Who thought up the Trail of Tears? Who blew up the Maine and started the Spanish-American War? Who got Sharon back in power? Who backed Batista, Hitler, Bilbo, Chiang Kai-shek? Who decided affirmative action had to go? Reconstruction, the New Deal, the New Frontier, the Great Society? Who do Tommy S. Clarence work for? Who do come out to Colin's mouth? Who know what kind of skeezer is a Condoleezza? Who paid Connolly to be a wooden Negro? Who give genius awards to Homo Locus Subsidiary? Who overthrew Nkrumah, Bishop? Who poisoned Robeson? Who tried to put Du Bois in jail? Who framed Rat Brown, Jamil Al-Amin? Who framed the Rosenbergs, Garvey, the Scottsboro Boys, the Hollywood 10? Who set the Reichstag fire? Who knew the World Trade Center was going to get bombed? Who told 4,000 Israeli workers at the Twin Towers to stay home that day? Why did Sharon stay away? Who? explosion of owl, the newspapers say the devil's face could be seen. Who make money from war? Who make dough from fear and lies? Who want the world like it is? Who want the world to be ruled by imperialism and national oppression and terror, violence and hunger and poverty? Who is the ruler of hell? Who is the most powerful? Who you know ever seen God? But everybody's seen the devil. Like an owl exploding in your life, in your brain, in your soul. Like an owl who knows the devil all night, all day. If you listen, like an owl exploding in fire. We hear the questions rise in terrible flame. Like the whistle of a crazy dog. Like the acid vomit of the fire of hell. Who and who and who and who and who and who and